Morning, everybody. Today's project, got our N-Fab step rails. Don't know if I'd quite call them sliders, but I'm sure they would tolerate a smidgen of abuse. Got them all unboxed. I have the sliders steps sitting outside. I just opened the hardware kit. The instructions were packed inside the hardware kit. First thing that I noticed is this is the front sheet. Flip it over, and then we are on to step 8. So I'm pretty sure that somebody forgot a sheet, or maybe even 2 sheets of the instructions. But that's all right. We'll get her figured out. Went to fellow YouTuber Demetrius Green's YouTube page, and he has a video of putting these on as well, so you kind of got an overview of what to expect. The hardware is super simple. I think I could figure it out even without the instructions. So these 6 bolts are going to be going up into the floor of the body, and these, I think there's 8 of them, should be going through the pinch seam underneath the doors. The nuts belong to those. The floor should be threaded for these. All the bolt heads are 12 millimeter, and then of course the nuts got to be different. They're 13 millimeter. So we'll get set up and put these guys on real quick and see what we think of them. So the $1 million question of the day is, can these safely be put on by yourself? I think the answer to that is yes. We'll see if I can make an ass out of myself, though. So what I did was I pre-stuck a bolt in each end, and I'm literally just going to hang it from the pinch seam temporarily. Putting this nut on one-handed blind, but we're started. Let's see if I can sneak back here, trip over my busted up driveway. Alright, that should at least have us in a position where we're safe and we're not going to scratch the Jeep up anywhere. So I'll get the rest of the hardware and we'll start plugging them in. They say these are supposed to be rated for 600 pounds. From what I can see, I think that's a fair assessment. I know it's really dark under here, but maybe this will show up on camera. So this is we're going into the factory brackets for factory steps. I'm assuming they make all these bodies the same, whether it's a Rubicon or a Sport or whatever. Okay, so all the hardware is started. Don't need this.
Told you it was not the right size. Aren't you just using that? So is this the right size then?
So the long ones are 12s and the short ones are 13s.
Okay, so this one fits. Oh.
That was my bad. I set you up for failure.
Yes, you did. You said it didn't fit. Because nothing was fitting.
Now you should be in
This
business.
side fits on.
So the bolts going through the pinch seam are a different size than the bolts as far as the socket or wrench. The ones that screw up into the floor are a 12 millimeter socket, and the pinch seam stuff is 13 for both the bolt and the nut. So what we're going to do is we're not tightening anything all the way yet. We're just going to draw them up to the body and make sure everything looks good. It's probably easier if you put the ratchet on the outside, but I would think. Come on, spatula. So once we get everything down and touching the body, just take up the gap, but not all the way tight yet. That one's probably good. Because what we're doing is we're bolting brackets on in two different directions, so we want to make sure that all the gaps are taken out. Everything lines up. It bolts up nice. I didn't see, in my partial instructions, I didn't see anything about torque in this hardware. So I'm going to go with common sense torque. You can pretty much take those about as tight as you can get them up, and that should be good. We were just debating on if these things look like they're level or not. It's not bad. I think tightening that rear bracket up against the floor, there was still a little bit of a gap. I think that actually helped a little bit. So now we're going to try actually using them and see if they're functional. So there's nothing worse than steps that aren't very functional. The new key fob case has been exceptional. I like it very much. That actually looked pretty natural. Getting out, still not sure. What do you think? Is it better? Isaac's not handicapped like the rest of us.
Now you gotta get out.
Yeah, see, for me, getting out of this thing was harder than getting in because I always feel like I'm tearing up the seats. thing we want to do is destroy the bolsters in the seats. I think getting out the same way I get in is better than trying to turn out. I'll have to teach my carpool buddy how to get in and out of this thing. I spend the other half of my week in a 2016 Toyota Tacoma, and it's amazing how different they are body-wise, climbing in and out of these things. So yeah, I think so far it's going to work good. Now we got 100%. So we got the driver's side all done. And one thing I immediately noticed after climbing in and out once or twice, the angle of the step. It's kind of hard to see. So like if you look at the front step, the step is going like this. This step I've tapped down. When you're trying to get in with the step angled out like that, it gives you the sensation that you're going to slip off of it really easy, which I don't like. So we're supporting the step with a floor jack so that when you tap this down with the sledgehammer and a piece of wood, it doesn't bounce. It'll actually bend this down. You can see that on the driver's side rear, it actually split the powder coating a little bit, but that's okay. It's worth it to me. I'll touch that up with a little bit of probably some grill paint, because it should match really good and keep it from developing any rust. So I'm going to go ahead and tap the driver's front down, and I think we'll be a lot happier with it. It's just a minor nitpicky thing. I did not care for the way it felt climbing in there. And if you did slip off of there, it's probably going to hurt a little bit. I'm going to grab the sledgehammer and my favorite block of wood and beat that down. Like I said, I have no idea if that shows up on camera or not, but it's way, 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 way better. You can hear the dog barking halfway down the street. Our dog. So overall, still very happy with the product. I think they go on pretty easy. You may or may not care what the steps feel like, but as far as the installation goes, it's like a damn freeway in here today. As far as the installation goes, if you have any questions, y'all know where to put them.